Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Cody and I'm a Lagos-based YouTuber. I make videos on family and lifestyle. If this is your first time on my channel, you're very welcome. But if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time on this channel, or you're an OG member, you are the real MVP. Okay, you're the reason why I'm still seated on this beautiful chair looking like the queen of Cody Umezu's channel. Okay, so on this video today, I'm just gonna be talking about my woes as a toddler mom, how I've dealt with infant care, how I've dealt with crèche, how I've dealt with taking care of my baby up until this time. So listen and be blessed. As you can see, she's running around the place. Listen and be blessed. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, so this video is not just for mommies, it's for daddies, it's for everybody. Aunties, just stay tuned, do not go anywhere. We'll be featuring this young woman here who is prancing around. Look at her. Ada, yeah, say hi. All right, you're going to be hearing a bit of cackles and stuff from her, but this chair that I'm sitting on like this, it makes me feel like I'm the queen of Zamunda. I think I should change my chair, like the chair I use in doing sit down videos and stuff, to something like this. It's so cool. Like, see my background on fire, and this look too. So you know that I've locked my hair, and the fact that I can wear it in my wig without even, matting it down into rows or cornrows as it should be. I just basically wore a wig cap over it, so there's a bit of puffiness around here, but apart from that, like, if I tied a scarf on it and then left it out, you wouldn't even notice that there's anything underneath. So like, locking my hair has to be one of my best decisions of 2021, even though it was done in December. But I have no regrets whatsoever, at least for now. I don't think I'm going to have regrets. Okay, so I'm digressing. I digress. Back to the video of today. My daughter is a year and 2 months. She'll be a year and 3 months. That's 15 months on the 7th of January. Okay. Yeah, I can't believe I have a toddler, a whole toddler all to myself. Okay, so initially when I came back to YouTube this year, I told you that I had gotten help and we're basically doing it. However, my help is still in secondary school, so she goes to school during the day and comes back home and does what she can. So majorly I'm still in charge of her care day to day. So because I have other things that I do, YouTubing, makeup, I'm a lawyer, as some of you may know, I still get stuff to do even though I work from home. So I had to find an alternate care plan, if that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. This is the year that we stop saying if that makes sense, because it makes sense all the time. Okay, want this girl. Okay, so I started looking for somewhere for my daughter, like a crèche for my daughter. I didn't want to take her to school. I checked around in some schools, and the price they were calling for me, they said I have a picture of it, so maybe I'll just attach it to this video somewhere, where they said my daughter will be attending KG1 or so, something like that. They have a fancy name, they call it in those schools. So she'll attend the school. I'll buy a uniform for her. I'll buy books. She'll stand there on assembly ground. They'll go to school from morning to 2 p.m. and then I'll come and pick her. They had said that I'll pay 170 something K, and then afterwards I think I'll pay like 100 and something K, 130 or 50 something K per term. She's going to get uniform, blah blah blah. What cut it out for me majorly was that she has to do uniforms and then they'll close by 2. I'm like, it defeats the purpose, because say I have a gig, I should have something from like maybe 6 or 6 to 6 or 7 to 7 or 7 to 6 at the very least. But having something that she has to close school by 2 and then I have to come and pick her. It's not like she stays, even where she is right now, it's not like she stays in school till like 7 or stays at the crèche till 7. I still come to pick her earlier, but for days where maybe I'm stuck in traffic, at least I know that my child is somewhere safe. That was major for me. So either ways, I left schools and then I started looking for like home run crèches. Now, the choices I even have based on where I live is quite limited, right? you're looking for like the very standard, you know, things and all of that you can afford, but it's the one that is available that you're going to use. You get, some people say Afro, I'm hoping that I'll put the translation there, but if you don't see the best, you use what you have to make do. Do you understand? Yeah, Afro, basically. Either ways, I went to what I got, or I went to what was available, and you know, mostly it was home crèches I was seeing, crèches run from the house. So at the time I was in a bit of a hurry because I needed to go somewhere. I needed to go to the market, so I wanted a crèche like ASAP. So I reached out to my sister-in-law, and she already had like somewhere her son was going to at the time, and she could testify and, you know, vouch for them to a large extent. So I'm like, oh yeah, sure, cool, let me go and see the place. I went there. It's a crèche within a home. The lady studied education. She looked quite homely. Her home looked clean. She was using one room. The day I went there were about 5 to 7 children. Apart from herself, she had 2 other workers. So I'm like, okay, 3 people managing about 7 children. That's not bad. You know, they had like 3 different beds. So I'm like, okay. And then it looked as if she knew what she was doing, and the price was really affordable. Like 2 of, okay, but it was affordable. Okay, so I digress again. Either ways, I went to it. First, I was backed up against the wall. Secondly, it looked good compared to what I had seen, right? Compared to others I had seen, it looked good. Because after there, I went to 2 other places on my street, and it looked like mbokoko. Where they used to keep chicken. You know, when you want to sell chicken, they'll put them inside one wooden stuff. That's how most of them were looking. I didn't call anybody's name, but it shall look like where they used to rear chicken. I'm like, nah. Hey, I've heard horror stories about crèche. I've had a friend who took a child to the crèche and a child came back with red bumbo. So I've had horror stories about crèche. It makes sense that you're in this video because you're the one I'm talking about. With your red and white. Christmas red and white. Oh yeah, go. So leave me alone, I beg. Let me do my video. So I said okay, no problem, I'll go with the option of this crèche that my sister-in-law had introduced me to. The lady looked okay, the environment was basic, but it was just okay. They didn't have AC, but it had fans. They had fans, they had, you know, air, and it was well aerated. So I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. So my daughter's there going to the crèche, and you know, it was basically good. Let me keep reducing this down to reduce the height because it's looking like I'm straining my neck. Either way, so we started going to the crèche. It was good for the first week. It was good for the first week, second week, you know, everything was fine. I think we just had little issues with like, either they were changing her diaper too often. Like I used very good, not like very good, the other ones are great, but I used Pampers or Huggies, and like you don't have to change it as frequent as you change the other ones. Like there's some other ones that you have to change much more frequently, but with these ones, if she just pees, you can stay like 8 hours and your baby's still fresh, and they are more expensive. So I'm like, you shouldn't change it as often. You change it here and now, especially if she pools. But if it's just urine, just watch it. When it gets full, it will notify you, not like call your name, but you just see a line or something that okay, diaper is due for change. After a while, we got over that. One incident that happened, my dad came back home with red bum bum. By red bum I mean like her vagina all to the back, everywhere was red. Like I was so terrified. I'm like, what is this? Obviously my daughter doesn't cry, not obviously, but obviously something had happened. It came to my daughter doesn't cry when she poos. You have to check her to know food either ways. So I told them this. So the person who was taking care of her that day did not check, and she had pooped. So they changed her diaper when I came to pick her up, and they gave me my child like that. So when I called the lady, I'm like, see what I'm observing, and she goes, oh, are you sure it happened here? Which was a thing for me. Like I wasn't going to come and arrest you. I expected that a bit of mistakes like this will happen, right? You're not used to my daughter yet, and then you have a couple of other kids you're taking care of, but not taking responsibility for actions or things that happen in your care. that was it for me. Okay, but I'm like, okay, no problem. I spoke to the lady the next day who was taking care of her, and she apologized and said she forgot to check. I'm like, okay, no problem. I bought studio cream, and that episode passed. Another episode again was my daughter had like viral infection. I checked it online. I think it's impetigo because of like symptoms and all these things that I checked. We shall prayed over her, went to buy some ointment. I can't even remember. Mupidem ointment. I remember now because she had to use it a couple of days. I had to stop her from going to school so she doesn't infect another child, because obviously she was infected. I know, like towards December period, Lagos became very hot. Ada, you're making noise in my video. Bye bye. Towards this December period, Lagos became very hot. So, and then with the children there, it's obvious that she's going to pick up one thing or the other. So at the time, I now reached out to this lady, like, see what I'm noticing on my daughter's body. And in church, she doesn't interact with like other children her age. I still carry her when we're in church. I'm still the one holding her and all those things. So it's not like she's interacting with any other. We've not gone to visit anybody that has children. So obviously it's the crèche. That's where she has interacted with other children. And the man goes, oh no, why should it happen in my crèche? My sister-in-law already warned me before now that the woman never takes responsibility, but this was me witnessing it firsthand. And she goes, oh no, Aisha is in my crèche. It did not happen in my crèche. So I'm like, the hell, what are you saying? Where else did it happen? I'm not killing you, I'm just telling you. She said no, that if it had happened, if someone had it, that they would have taken note of it. I'm like, duh. My daughter had it for 2 days and was coming to crèche. Then I didn't even know what it was at the time, but I was just noticing some red marks on her body. I'll insert a picture of, or a video. I made Asha made a video or a picture. I took a picture of it. Her nose, it would come like a red, it comes on her body like a red dot or something like that. And then after a while, it bursts open and begins to drain liquid, and then forms an injury, and then eventually goes. So I had to use that thing to dry it up, the ointment I was applying on her body to dry it up at the time. So the lady be like, oh no, it didn't happen here, and all of that. I'm like, but you didn't even notice my daughter had it. So I could have been bringing her to school and she would infect someone else, and you wouldn't notice. So don't tell me it didn't happen here, you would have noticed it, because you didn't even notice that she had anything. And I didn't talk to her about that. My daughter, I kept her away from the crèche for about 2 or 3 days. And then when I felt like she was good, she went back into crèche. Now, prior to this time, I wasn't giving her like multivitamins and vitamin C. Like, I was just, giving her fruits and all of that. But by the time this happened, this first viral thing happened, I went and I bought vitamin C and multivitamin. She started taking like every day. Till now, she's been taking it every day. I miss it like a day or two here and there when I absolutely forget, but she takes it like every day till now. And then I also try to incorporate fruits and the kind of food I give to her and all those things as God gives me grace. So that episode passed. The one that has broken my back is that I don't think, honestly, she's going to go back to that place again. I don't even know the crèche to send her to, because I've also gone to check some other crèches after this lady's own, and the crèches in my area are not giving me joy. At some point, me, if I wanted to open crèche, but the price we pay for crèche and the price of houses in that area, I don't know how I'm going to meet up and cover up my expenses if I set up a crèche. And I don't know if I'm called to do crèche, because with crèche you have to be called into the business, because you're taking care of a lot of children, taking care of people's children. It's a lot of you're handling delicate matters. This is like somebody's child, and usually because of their age, they're usually delicate and fragile. So setting up a crèche, I don't know if it's something I want to do, but I definitely believe I'll do a better job. I believe so. Either ways, so this second time, my daughter comes back home and I'm noticing something like mosquito bites, and so I'm like, mosquito, is it biting her in this crèche when she does not even stay there through the night? Why is mosquito biting her? I'll tell the mom that there's no mosquito here. We spray fleet, we do clinic. I'm like, there's no mosquito in my house. And when she came here this morning, she didn't have all these mosquito bites. I'm coming to pick her up this evening. She has mosquito bites on her body. So where is it coming from? And she's like, oh, we are going to check. We are going to fleet, but it's not here because we used to fleet every day. I'm like, God, like what kind of wala is? What kind of woman being is this one? Asha said, okay, no problem. Somehow I took my daughter home and I didn't bring her back again, because she was already like close to the time when my help was, like when they were closing school for the year. So she was going to be home a lot more. And then she could watch her for me while I do whatever thing I needed to do. So I started watching my daughter, and then another viral infection just came up. Like, this time around, her entire hand, I'm going to insert, I made a video of that one. Her entire hand like this, her neck, where else it would be? Her neck, where else? Under here, like her chin, and top here, inside her nose, right? Had all those things. Sorry, my help is by the corner, so she's updating me with the gist. Either ways, even her leg down to her feet, had all those things. Like every day more was coming out. So I'd watch, I'm like, what's this? If you touch her hand, it's as if you're touching foot mat. Like, you could actually scrub something on top of this. My daughter went from smooth skin to foot mat. Like, I didn't bother calling the woman anymore. I just stay handling it myself. I went and I bought that mupidem again. I think I bought her antibiotics this time. I bought anti-malaria. I'm like, everything, I must fire this thing down. I took her to the hospital the next day because she was even running a bit of temperature and it was itching her. Now, it didn't look like chickenpox, it didn't look like measles, so it was none of those. And we'll be taking like all those what do they call it, injections? Kilo day. So, my people, either ways, I got back and I took her to the hospital the next day to see a pediatrician, and he looked at her and said, it's nothing serious, it's a rash, it's going to go, but I know you want to clear it and all those things. Use calamine lotion. He sent pictures of her. It's calamine lotion. My daughter was white just before this 25th. I'll just apply calamine lotion all over her body, from her head to her toe, under her toes, everywhere, every corner of her body. Even before I wear her diaper, I'll rub calamine lotion. After you change diaper, calamine lotion. Like, she's just wearing diaper. The days when I have AC on, just so that cold does not enter her body, where I'm doing calamine lotion and naked bomb maybe just diaper, I'll just wear her pin under and she will stay. Even to sleep, that's what she was just wearing to sleep. After the 5th day, it had dried up. It had now formed like wound all over her body. And then eventually it began to fall off. Now it fell off and now had scars. Like, it's not so bad. Maybe I'm just feeling the way I'm feeling, but it had scars. She still has the scars, but you have to come really close to see them. Okay, so after the scars, like 2 or 3 days afterwards, she's still having rashes on her arm, rashes on her neck, rashes to the back. And I'm like, what's this? I thought I had gone past this. So what's all this new one again? I didn't want to take her back to the hospital. I just like, okay, let me see what I can do from the house. I started trying to think what was the new thing I had started doing, what new thing I started using on her. So I realized, for one, that I was using my body butter on her, and I don't know if her body wasn't taking it so well. The maternal started at the time, and I didn't think her body lotion would do so much because I didn't want her turning white whenever we step out of the house. So I was using my body butter on her, and I felt like the body butter would help with the rashes or with the, I don't know, I just felt like body butter would be great. But the more I was using it, the more rashes she had. So that was one. So then basically she was still using the same towel and all those things, so there wasn't so much of a change. I also figured that the cream and soap I use for her is Sebamed. I've used a couple, but whenever she has anything like rash on her body and I get Sebamed, and it just takes it out sharp. But this particular Sebamed I bought from one of all these stores on this, not like on the street, but like a big supermarket. I don't want to call their names. They are quite big. Somehow it felt, from the first I bought it, it felt like it was fake. It felt like, because when you're rubbing it, it has like seeds. I'm like, which kind of rubbish with this? But I was using it on her like that. Either ways, I just threw that Sebamed one side first and kept. I now went back to some other supermarket and I bought Aveeno. So I just browsed online to just see what would clear my baby's rashes, what would, my baby has sensitive skin, because obviously my daughter has sensitive skin. So I bought Aveeno, I bought the cream, I bought the lotion, I bought the soap for sensitive skin, then I bought one for like eczema rash or something closely related to what she was experiencing. So when I bought that, I started using the soap and the cream, and then I just take that eczema rash cream thing with me in my bag wherever we're going. If I feel like she needs to reapply lotion, I use that one on her. So back to that day I bought the cream and soap. I stopped by a pharmacy just to ask questions, and I spoke to the pharmacy and he was like, it's probably your body butter that is bringing the rashes, or maybe the virus infection you treated has not gone. You get? So maybe you want to continue with the calamine lotion whenever she's at home, and let's see, and you know, watch her and know if she has to go back for another dose of treatment. So I think I applied the calamine lotion for like 2 days, used the Aveeno thing. In less than 2-3 days, everything. So I stopped using that body butter. In less than 2 or 3 days, everything had cleared. She no longer has rashes on her body. The scars are still there from that last episode of the viral thing. So yeah, but definitely she looks and feels better. No more itches and all those things. She's in a better space. I'm in a better space. Motherhood no easy. Either ways, so after that crèche, I started looking for another crèche because, like, the new year is coming, everybody's going to go back to school, work is going to resume, things are going to get on a roll. So I need to find somewhere for her to go. I don't want her to go back there and just, you know. So I started searching for the first place I went. If I had to go with my husband at some point, the first place I went to, it was okay, but it was not different from what she had. This was in a school. They had a crèche within the school. They were also stayed till about 6 or 7. But the room was just there. Even the day I went there, they left their window open. I'm like, why is your window open? Mosquitoes can, your window and your net is open. You're like, oh, this is not how it always is. So we always close it. I'm like, oh, Diego, this is not how it always is. Who will be here to supervise the day that is like that? Their price was reasonable, but I'm like, you're not the best. So let me just go and check. I left that place. I went to another one that is on my street that I heard about. This one is in a hospital. You would think that they will have sense. You would think that, okay, this one that is in a hospital that is owned by a doctor is going to be, you know, they will really take things seriously. And I went there, lo and behold, there was a generator. There was a generator just beside the crèche. Like, as you're opening the door of the crèche, the generator fumes entering into the crèche. And I'm like, what in God's name is happening here? Even for an adult, generator fumes can kill. How much more for children? I don't even need to see. Inside the space was good. Inside the space was clean. But I'm like, even with the generator fumes, I can't even stay there as an adult. How much more have my child stay there? I saw children even smaller than my own child, being cared for there. The place was clean, but I'm like, no, this generator thing cancels it out for me. This generator thing cancels it out for me. So that's how I ruled out that place. They even said I should go and see their doctor. I'm like, nah, I'm not seeing any doctor. Enjoy. This is it. And I left there and came back home. Now, I'm speaking with a friend of mine again, whose child is also, you know, like her child and my child, they're almost age mates, just 10 days apart. She had a baby 10 days before me. So I spoke to her and she's like, oh, there is one that is a bit far from my house, even though it's like on the same axis. It's a bit far from my house that we can go check in January. I'm like, once I come back to my area this year, I'm going to go and check that place out. If it's going to give me what I want, I don't mind paying double for what I was paying before. But knowing that my child is getting quality for where she's going to be, I have time to do the work that I need to do. I go and pick her. She's in a safe space. Professionals, I just know what they are doing. I'm not so big on, you know, a nice house or a beam school, something that looks very flashy and all of that. For me, it's the people that are dedicated to the work, that are dedicated to their craft, that are professionals. If you see the ideas I have for crèche in my head, they pay me like 50 to 100K. I don't know if people pay me that. Well, yeah, that's the kind of thing I have in my head. Security, parents can be looking at their children from wherever they are. Password for coming to pick your child, like AC everywhere, bed space, like everything go shell, everywhere go nice. That's what I have in mind. But let's be looking whether the crèche will happen this year or not. But either ways, it's not been easy. Every episode of having to go to the hospital here and there, it can be tiring. It can just cut off your plans, scatter your day. But what are you gonna do? Like, a child is priority, especially because they cannot help themselves. Like, if I was sick, if I had anything, I can obviously get over-the-counter drugs. I can take care of myself. I can deal with the pain for a bit. But for my child, she will not even be able to express herself or say, this is how it's paining me or this is how it's hurting me. She will just be wailing. So for that reason, I'm always very particular. Either ways, I don't know if I will still do this crèche business. So, you know, to favor me like that, Sha. I can't wait for her to be in school, but I'm definitely not putting her in school before to She's going to be 2 next year, October, by God's grace. That's when she's going to get into school and start wearing uniform. I don't have strength to come and be ironing uniform at this point in my life. But yeah, that's the end of my story. That's the end of my story time about Crèche. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more of this kind of yummy mommy content, still let me know in the comment section. If you want to collaborate with me, you want to do business with me, please send me an email with my email in the description box. Send me a DM through the link to my Instagram page, also in the description box, and I'll be glad to, do business with you. On the other hand, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share with your family and friends and umunna and umunne. Happy New Year. I know you see this video in the new year. Happy New Year, and I hope you have a prosperous year. I hope this year is your best year yet. I hope God comes through for you in more ways than you thought or planned. I hope you have a year that is full of health, prosperity, good news all around, challenges that you can face, knowing and trusting that God is with you in it and through it. I'm beginning to preach, but please subscribe to my channel, show me some love in the comment section, and I'm gonna see you in my next one from your favorite yummy mommy, Cody Umenzi, signing out. Till next time, peace out. Mwah. Bye.